Hiya, Barbie.
Hi, Ken.
You want to go do a podcast?
Sure.
Jump in.
Ladies and gentlemen, Barbies and Kens, Kellys of all ages, and everyone else, welcome to Binging Barbie, a Barbie movie podcast. I'm your host, Jay, and with me I have my wonderful co-host. You do really want to be a Wavecrest surf gear girl, right? John.
Well, it's one of those dreams.
For those of you just joining us, we are a podcast about Barbie movies. Every week we watch one of the straight-to-DVD animated Barbie movies, and we rank its story, characters, animation, voice acting, and music to see how it stacks up. And this week we will be talking about the 22nd animated Barbie movie, and it's a sequel to a movie we covered a few weeks ago, Barbie in a Mermaid Tale 2.
Oh, 2.
Yeah, this is the first sequel we've been talking about in a while here.
Yeah, it's the only other sequel that we've had is Mermaidia.
Yeah, and then the other Fairytopia movies so far.
Magic of Rainbow.
There's a few more that are coming up that are going to be more directly related.
Yes.
But
yes.
before we get into things, we did have another guest planned for this episode, my sister Sarah, but she was unfortunately unable to make it. So throughout the episode, I'll be giving her scores just so that we can have that on record since she wasn't able to make it. And hopefully she'll be in the next week's episode. But yeah.
Right.
Barbie in a Mermaid Tale 2 was released on March 6, 2012 on DVD. It is, as we were just saying, a sequel to Barbie in a Mermaid Tale, and it is directed by William Lau, once again returning. He's done quite a few of these Barbie movies, and written by Elise Allen, again, also returning here. And we have music by B.C. Smith. He's been a composer on the last few of these. So I believe this is one of his last movies. Actually, it's getting close to the end of all of their time with Barbie. So this is kind of one of the last times you get to see this team working together.
Okay.
But yeah, this takes place 1 year after Merlia has saved the underwater kingdom of Oceania. So her mother, Queen Calissa, is preparing to attend the Changing of the Tide ceremony. This is a ceremony that happens once every 20 years, and it's when the royal family gains the power to spin Merlia, which is this like substance that keeps the ocean alive.
Yeah.
I'm not
Ocean
entirely
magic.
sure. Yeah. And only members of the royal family can do it, but Queen Clarissa doesn't want Merlia to do it because it might permanently turn her into a mermaid. And this is happening in a palace off the coast of New Zealand, which is important because coincidentally, Merlia is competing in a surfing competition nearby in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
And her rival in this competition is an Australian surfer named Kylie. And the competition and the ceremony are on the same day, so Merlia plans to skip the ceremony, which her mom is not very happy with. But the night before, an evil fish named Alistair convinces Kylie to steal Merlia's necklace and frees the evil heiress from the last movie from the whirlpool at the bottom of the ocean. And Kylie gets shoved into the whirlpool, and Eris is planning to disrupt the Changing of the Tide ceremony and steal the power to spin Merlia, which in the last movie it was implied she couldn't do it, but I guess it's now tied to whoever goes through the ceremony. But anyway, she crashes the ceremony and traps all of the mermaids who are attending, including the queen, who gets stuck at the bottom of the ocean. And Snouts, who is a sea lion, saw this whole thing go down, fetches Merlia, who can still breathe underwater but can't turn into a mermaid without the necklace. And they rescue Kylie, but as they're going back to the surface, Merlia senses that her mother is in danger. They try to lift her from the bottom of the ocean, but they can't. So Merlia decides that she has to go through with the ceremony to stop Eris. So Merlia and Kylie team up to stop Eris, and Merlia gives up her legs to gain the ability to spin Merlia. So this is, once again, the giving up wings for a tail here.
Yes.
But they return to the surface so that Kylie can participate in the surfing competition, and Maria says she wishes she could go as well. And that magically turns her tail into legs again. Because
Just like in Mermaidia.
Yep, because we can't have lasting consequences for any of the characters' actions in these movies.
And they both have the exact same thing. It's like, oh, the magic reveals who you truly are.
Yeah,
Both of them got what they.
yeah. It's interesting. That is my first note on the story here, is that this is really a retread of Mermaidia, though with
It
some
also
new
has a
elements.
mixture of Magic of the Rainbow with
Yeah,
the ritual.
yeah. But then you have things like the return of the villain, and then the
Mm-hmm.
central sort of enemies to friends relationship between the two
Yep.
main characters. And then, yeah, as we were just talking about, the trading legs for a tail here at the end, that of course gets reversed.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's. Go ahead.
Yeah, it is a retread of those two. However, I think this is better than those two.
Okay.
I feel that it does those stories and doesn't waste its time. It does a good job of those.
Yeah, this is written by the same writer who wrote those two movies, and she has revisited these ideas before. So I think she's kind of improving on things with each iteration.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot going on here. As you said, it's kind of a mix of these other two movies, which means there's a lot of plot elements here, and not all of them factor in to the story all that much. Like there's the ceremony and the competition, and then there's a sponsorship deal that gets a lot of emphasis. Then Kylie getting tricked, and Eris's plot, and Kylie getting redeemed, and Maria's learning of her own lesson, and all these different things that are going on. And it's not always easy to tell what matters and what doesn't in the moment, but it was never boring.
Yeah, no, it was never boring. There was always something to be interested in.
Yeah.
Whether it's the story or just getting lost in the animation, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious. What are some of your thoughts on the story?
I mean, the story is, again, it is a retread. So it's just very familiar and very obvious. Like, I predicted everything from the beginning. It's like, okay,
Oh yeah.
what's going to happen? Well, they've mentioned this ceremony. It's going to end up that, Maria's going to do that and has to sacrifice something or something. Most likely Eris is going to come back, which, I didn't really want that, but it happened. And then it's like, this person, Kylie, you know what? She's going to become a mermaid. And then she does. And it's like, okay.
And she's gonna become friends with
Yeah,
the
exactly.
Barbie character, because
Exactly.
that's what happened in every other recent Barbie movie.
But I think they did a good job doing it, even though it was very predictable. It was still fun to watch.
Yeah, it's very refined.
Yeah.
They've simplified a lot of these things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think my least favorite element is still the Marilia, this like sea magic that never really matters. Well,
It matters, but
we
you
never
know,
understand what it actually is.
it gives the fish life and gets rid of pollution.
Yeah, but we never really like see it in action here.
Well, she does. She touches the water and it glows.
I mean, we never see what it actually like. And part of that is this movie doesn't have a lot of time and it has a lot it wants to do.
Right.
But I feel like some added clarity about that might have helped both make it clear what the Marilia actually is, and then also why Eris being in control of it would be so bad.
Other than she's just bad in general.
Yeah. And yeah, I think one of my least favorite parts is the ending, as I alluded to before, where Merlia gives this great sacrifice of giving up her life on land, but then it gets reversed.
Oh yeah.
And I think we may want to jump down to the characters to talk
I
about that a
rolled
little
my
bit.
eyes when that happened. It's like, oh, of course. And I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? Fine. It would have been sad if she wasn't able to surf again, so just let her have it. I don't care. I don't care because we got something back in this film, which we'll talk about later.
Okay. The reason it bothered me is that she doesn't need to turn back to a human in the end.
No.
Because specifically for this movie, she basically drops out of the surfing competition anyway to spin Marilia. So I think it might have been interesting if you have Kylie in the competition and Marilia is swimming along and figures out how to spin the Marilia, and she's like, oh, this is like surfing. And have that sort of, rather than getting everything she wants at the end, she has this great sacrifice, but then learns something about being a mermaid that she enjoys. And then if they make a sequel, you can have her turn back into a human. But yeah, it feels a lot like Mermaidia.
Yeah. Yeah, so rating the story then.
Yeah, I gave the story a 3.5 out of 5.
Yeah, so did I.
It's not stellar, but it functions.
It's very functional. I do like that it takes the stronger elements of Mermaidia and Magic of the Rainbow, and just mixes it well.
Yeah.
That I actually appreciate the story.
Yep, and my sister Sarah gave it a 3 out of 5, so kind of all on the same page there.
Yeah.
But yeah, getting into the characters, we were already kind of talking about Merlia. I do like this decision she makes at the beginning of the movie to skip the ceremony to go to the competition. I like that she makes that decision because we know as an audience that it's the wrong decision.
Not really.
And
it's not really a bad decision.
I mean, it's not a
Getting
bad decision.
chosen to surf in Australia is a rare opportunity, especially for women. So
yes, I think the bigger thing though is like, that's not the Barbie decision to make. The Barbie decision to make is, oh, it's my mom, I need to go with my family, I need to do the thing that is nice for everyone. Whereas Merlia chooses it's not selfish necessarily, but she's like, no, I'm going to this competition, I've worked hard for this, and I'm not going to miss out on that opportunity.
Yeah, this is what she's been training all her life to do.
Yeah, I liked that it felt like a more interesting decision than a lot of Barbie protagonists would have made here.
Yeah.
And she is very much kind of trying to find her place between these two worlds in a way that is sometimes interesting.
But it seems that she more so prefers the human world, because she doesn't really care much for the fishes when she goes back. She's like, I'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
I got my mom. That's all I care about down here.
Yeah.
And my little sea lion friend.
Yeah, I like the way she is portrayed here. Now, there isn't a ton of complexity, but yeah. And that is partially why I think it would be interesting if she ends up a mermaid at the end. I don't know. It's not the Barbie movie ending, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, next up we have Kylie, the Australian surfer, who's kind of the rival to Merlia, who inevitably they go through the whole enemies to friends arc here.
But here, it doesn't take too long for them to become friends.
Yeah, they've really streamlined the whole process of it.
I think I actually prefer Kylie the most
Okay.
while it is the exact same archetype, uh, I found a slight difference here where I do feel for her because she does work hard and is good and she doesn't get noticed for it. Whereas the
Yeah.
others are just stuck up just to be stuck up.
Yeah, that's a good point that I hadn't really considered. She is very talented in a way that, like, is it Raquel in Fairy Secret? Like, we never
Hmm.
see Raquel do anything, so we don't really have that way of comparing her with
Yeah.
Barbie. Yeah, personally, I felt kind of like we've seen this character a few times before, but yeah, I didn't even consider the point you brought up. So I do think the thing I'm
Yeah.
missing from the other characters is that Kylie doesn't have a pre-existing relationship with Merlia or any of the other characters. Because in
No.
Mermaidia, um, there's this sort of flirtationship between, is it Nori and the prince, that kind of
Hmm.
makes that relationship a bit interesting. And then in Very Secret, we have Raquel, who has known Barbie for a while, and there's actually this like exploration of how they got off on the wrong foot.
Here, Kylie just shows up at this competition, does really well, and wants to prove herself, which she
Yeah,
does, but then still doesn't get recognized until the
yeah,
very end.
yeah. And I do like that you brought up this other element because I didn't notice it.
Yeah, because reading your notes, I'm like, what do you mean? She's completely different.
Yeah, I like that because there's an issue in media where oftentimes when women are portrayed, they're not often portrayed as friends, or if they are friends, it's like a very shallow and two-dimensional relationship.
Right.
So I like that these Barbie movies are, and obviously they're Barbie movies, so there's going to be more thought put into how these characters are portrayed.
Hmm.
And I do like seeing these more complicated relationships play out, and that they always end with the characters as friends.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, on to the villains. Eris is back.
Yep. She's back. She's the same,
Yeah,
but she has a new spell.
yeah. The new spell is interesting, though it never feels as interesting as it should.
No, she just shows up again. It's like, by the way, I've learned this new spell.
Yeah, she's still a very standard Barbie villain.
Yeah.
Like she has some moments and some lines, but she's Laverna, but
She actually
not.
has a reason to do things.
Yeah,
Laverna is doing it because, I don't know.
because she
Eris just
can.
wants to feel the power and actually rule. Laverna is
Yeah.
just stupid.
Now
It's
I
true.
think the more. Oh, go ahead.
I mean, it's true. She
Yeah,
looks cool. All her plans just don't make sense.
yeah. I think that's true, kind of for both of them.
Mhm.
Eris has a bit more of a solid plan here.
Yeah, it's like, I'm gonna steal the magic because I always wanted this magic. And I'll rule the land the way I want to rule it.
Yeah. Well, the villain I actually like in this movie is Alistair, the rainbow fish,
The sidekick
who
one.
is 10 out of 10, no notes, just perfect. He is deliciously evil.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just so. From the moment he shows up on screen and he just has this, like, pencil mustache,
Yeah,
it's just
pencil.
so. And the accent and everything, yes.
Yeah. What's great is that he isn't loyal to Eris. He's just like, I'm doing this. I don't care. I'm gonna sass and do what I want.
Yeah. He's just so much fun in a way that
Why does he do
Barbie
this? I don't
sidekicks
know.
aren't. Yeah, he's just so great every time he's on screen.
Hmm.
I could have had more of him in the movie, though I think they use him pretty well.
Yeah. Hopefully not too much.
Yeah. Next up we have Queen Calissa,
Hmm.
who she has her own mini arc here about learning to accept Merlia and her place in both worlds.
Yeah.
But
Even
yeah,
though she kind of gets shut out of the movie very quickly
yeah.
because reasons.
Yeah, she gets stuck at the bottom of the ocean, which I don't really buy that is her biggest fear.
No.
Like none of the big fears, except for the fish that gets shrunk into a smaller fish. That's a good deployment of this spell that brings your worst fear true.
Right. The fast one is slow, I guess, kinda. The pretty one
The,
is ugly. Yes, I get.
the brave one is not brave. The
Okay.
claustrophobia one does kind of make sense, but it's not visually interesting. But then, yeah, Queen Clarissa just like
Sinks
her
to the
tail
bottom.
gets real heavy. That
Yep.
is apparently her worst fear, and
Plump.
it's disappointing because if her worst fear had been something more interesting, that would have told us a lot about her as a character.
Yeah. I was expecting something like more of her, like Marilia being Marilia. Merlia.
Merlia,
Yeah,
the daughter.
actually, yeah, actually being more about Merlia than, oh no, I'm heavy.
Yeah,
Plump.
I was honestly thinking like, what is she more afraid of? Is she more afraid of losing her kingdom or losing her daughter?
Mm-hmm.
And if the fear is losing her kingdom, how does that how does she reflect upon that being revealed?
Or
If
is
she
it that
gets
she's afraid of becoming as evil as her sister? But no,
yeah,
it's just, oh no, I'm heavy. Plump.
yeah. There's nothing else. It isn't even framed as like her biggest fear is not going through with the ceremony. Because even that you can spin into something. But yeah, there's just like that's such a strong dramatic tool to have like
Mm.
we're gonna show you the worst fears of these characters. And then the worst fears of the characters are like, oh no, her tail got heavy.
Oh well.
Yeah. Yeah. Next up, we have some of the supporting characters. We have Fallon and Hadley from the last movie. They're the classic Barbie sidekicks who disappear for a
Yeah,
lot of the movie, and you
yeah.
don't really miss them.
The last film, they were replaced with two different characters with similar
Yeah.
attributes who are not in this movie at all.
No, they've disappeared, and you don't feel their absence either. Like none of these characters, when they aren't on screen, you don't care.
No, it wasn't until the end of the film where it was like, oh yeah, weren't there like two other characters? Oh, I guess they weren't important, even though they were important to the queen or something.
Yeah. I think the worst thing about them though is that the character assassination of Hadley, where in the last movie she was like indistinguishable from Fallon, here she's been made so much less intelligent in a way that feels kind of mean.
Yeah, which is probably to stick with the stereotype that we've had with these characters in the past few films with our friends, especially.
Yeah, you have the main one, the sassy one, and the dumb one. And Hadley becomes the dumb one, and Fallon becomes the sassy one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Who was it in the last film? Not the last film, but Charm School. Was it Marcia?
Charm School, we had Portia, who
Portia, yes.
yeah, but she's the villain sidekick.
But she still plays the role.
Oh yeah, yeah, but she plays it. She fits that role better than Hadley.
Oh yeah.
I do I think it is kind of funny the bit where you have Fallon and Hadley are at this
Oh,
luau with the
yes,
surfers,
yes.
and they come across this dish, which isn't an actual dish, but it is based on two actual dishes: pickled beetroot, which is apparently a classic Australian dish, and poi, which is um, a Hawaiian dish, and they have been mixed together. And so Fallon is like, "Oh, we should give it a try," and Hadley says, "No, it looks disgusting." And then they sit down and eat it, and Fallon is disgusted by it, and Hadley absolutely loves it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's an entire set piece just built around this thing, and that's how Kylie gets to steal the necklace.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
It's just like a weird little scene that I thought was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, most of the other characters, we have a few returning characters: Zuma the dolphin,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Snouts, who is the Bibble equivalent of these movies, though.
But
In this
not
one, he
as
actually had some
not
stuff to
not
do.
annoying. No, he's
Yeah.
just there.
We have Break, the grandfather, who is back, who once again doesn't get much to do, but he's fun.
He's fun.
And then we have all of the different people who show up at the ceremony, who are kind of indistinguishable.
Where are they from? Are there other mermaid kingdoms? I
I
don't know.
assume so. And then we have the stargazers. They're like giant prehistoric fish that Eris convinces to
I wish that
join
they
her.
had something that glowed.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're in the deep part of the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And they look a little bit like anglerfish.
But they don't glow. They
Nope.
don't angler.
I do like that the leader, his biggest fear is being turned into a small fish. I think
I
that was the one time the
I was kind of hoping that he would have been eaten by his friends. It's
that
like,
might have been
that's
a bit dark.
that would have been a bit dark, but that's a total villain move.
Oh yeah,
That
yeah.
to be seen. It's like, oh yeah, well, woof. Now your biggest fear is just tiny. He's like, no, and he gets eaten. Ah.
Yeah, that again probably a bit dark, but that would have been an interesting
I
moment.
like that he comes back to save the day.
Yes. After being turned into an even smaller fish.
And he actually like accepts that he's a smaller fish. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, it's not that bad of a look.
And then obviously gets turned back to normal size.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I gave the characters a 3.5 out of 5.
Yeah, so did I.
I think some of them are interesting, but there are a lot of missed opportunities here. And
Yeah, I mean, they're still solid.
yeah, my sister Sarah gave them a 4 out of 5. And I
Okay.
think if you're gonna like this movie, you're gonna like it because of the characters.
Yeah.
Specifically Merlia and Kylie. I've seen stuff online about people like their dynamic.
Mm.
Sort of similar to Diamond Castle. There's a lot of shipping going on there.
No, yeah, I figured there was.
Yeah.
Kylie is a
More
fun character.
interesting that it's more so than like Fairy Secret, which has a similar dynamic, but I guess Ken's in that one, so that kind of
Ken.
disrupts things.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, next up we have the animation, which
Oh my gosh!
yeah,
Immediately looked really good.
yeah, this is spectacular from like a quality perspective.
Yeah, no, it was so good.
Yeah, this is like Princess Charm School, but they've improved on Princess Charm School. Like the character models all look incredible. The colors
The
are really
lighting on them
vibrant.
looked great too, as
Oh
well.
yeah.
Yeah.
The backgrounds are so much better than both the previous Mermaid Tale and then Princess Charm School. There aren't as many spaces that feel weirdly empty.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, I got lost so many times in the animation. I was like, wow, this looks really good.
Yeah, it was, and this is obviously like a recency thing, but I've been to the theater a few times recently to see the new Avatar movie, which is also an underwater movie. And obviously the Avatar movie looks quite a bit better than this, but it is
Right?
still that similar thing of like, oh, the underwater scenes here look really, really good.
Mhm.
The surface of the water and how it interacts with characters maybe a little bit less so, but
Yeah.
again, this is a 2012 Barbie movie that I'm comparing with a 2022
Pixar.
$474 million
Oh yeah.
blockbuster
Of
that
course, that they
most
created brand new
expensive,
technology for.
yeah, most expensive movie ever made. So obviously the Barbie movie isn't gonna look quite as good. And I do think one of the stylistic things that I took issue with is that everything is very super saturated.
Mm.
Um, and what I liked about the first Mermaid Tale were the few scenes where like they kind of desaturated stuff underwater, so it looked more realistic to what actual underwater stuff looks like. But this is a Barbie movie; they gotta sell toys, so
So in the first film, I did not like Eris's tornado magic. I thought it just didn't work well. Here it looked
oh
fantastic.
yeah,
The
there's that
lighting,
scene,
the textures, it was like,
yeah,
whoa.
and like the scene where the tornado collapses in on itself. That looked great. The
Yeah.
yeah, the nightmare stuff. It has an interesting quality to it.
Mm-hmm. Even just her magic in her hand just looks so vibrant.
Yeah, I love the look of like the deep sea, the trench, and there's just like they're surrounded by blackness on all sides. And
Yeah.
I've said before on probably the Mermaidia episode that like deep water is one of a thing that like sets off all of my internal alarm bells, and like those scenes were a lot of fun as like a, oh,
Mm-hmm.
this is a little bit like creepy.
Yeah.
And then the surfing scenes
Great as
are,
always.
they're so good. The way the camera moves and spins and flies by and all of these things. It's like, again, there are certain things that you can do in animation that you can't do in live action, and getting up close with surfing is one of those things. Like you can do some of that in real life, but you can't do the like, you can't get that close to the people where you're showing their board spinning as they're spinning. So yeah, it was just, it's so much fun to see how they approach these scenes.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Yeah, to date, this is the best looking Barbie film.
yeah, and it's, we had a few in there a few weeks ago that were like not as good in quality, and here we're now back on this sort of like every movie looks better than the last one.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I gave it a 5 out of 5, which is what I gave Princess Charm School. I felt like I couldn't rate it any lower than Princess Charm School. So even though I have a few gripes with it, it's still just so good.
Yeah, I give it a 4, which is still a high score. There's always room for more that they could
Yep.
do with it. Yeah, it's a really high score.
Yeah. And my sister gave it a 3.5 out of 5. I think she was looking at it more in terms of
Yeah, yeah.
overall
That's
animation.
still a good score.
Yes. And it is worth noting she has also recently seen the new Avatar, so
Yeah.
again, the comparison is a bit unfair, which is why I'm giving this a high score, even though I have seen better underwater scenes. But
Mm-hmm.
so now is the voice acting, and Kelly is
Yeah.
back.
Yes. Yes. Just hearing her back, I was like, oh yeah, here we go.
Yeah, and I almost like didn't notice right away. She just feels so natural to the role.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just having her back again was so great, and she knocks it out of the park again.
Yeah. Yeah. Once again, as usual,
Yeah, I'm
I
definitely,
could just immediately feel like, yes, Barbie.
yeah, I'm looking forward to. She's going to be in a few of these coming up as well, so
Mm-hmm.
it's good to have her back.
Yeah. No, it is.
And this is like a separate thing. She has now officially entered my top most seen actors on Letterboxd, because I have now seen 22 movies that she has been in.
With more to
This
come.
is including a few of the later Barbie movies that I've already seen and a few other non-Barbie movies. But
Okay.
yeah, she was my most watched actor of last year as well, with 17. So
Nice.
yeah. We also have Ashley Ball, who is Kylie here, and
Yeah, she is another Pony alum.
yep, and she's also had roles in other Barbie movies, but this is kind of
Mm-hmm.
her first major role in a Barbie movie. And I mean, she goes toe to toe with Kelly.
Oh
Their
yeah.
energies match very well.
Yeah, I thought Ashley was really good.
Yeah. And I'm not Australian, so I'm not an expert here, but her accent work seemed very solid.
It was solid, however, I felt that she was slipping into Southern from
Okay.
time to time. Partially because she plays a Southern character in Ponies with a Southern
Yeah.
accent, and so I could hear that accent just coming in.
Okay.
Because like the Australian accent has a bit of Southern in it. If you really listen close to just any of those,
Huh.
which is kind of odd, but
Yeah. That's neat.
it's an interesting fact.
Yeah, I didn't really detect any of it, but again, I'm both less familiar with her other work and less familiar with voice acting than you are.
Right? Yes, but no, it was really nice to have her here as a
Yeah.
side character.
I also wanted to spotlight Jonathan Holmes plays Alistair the fish,
Hmm.
and he's been in another Barbie movie. He played the ambassador in 12 Dancing Princesses, who has like one scene.
Okay.
But he's known for both voice work and live action work. He's a Canadian actor. He had roles in Inuyasha, Stargate, and with an E, whole bunch of other stuff. And yeah, his performance here, he's chewing the scenery. He has so many good line readings, and dare I say it, he might be on a similar level to Tim Curry.
Hmm.
Like, I, he was just so much fun to listen to, and I hope he comes back for more of these.
Well, I
'Cause,
wasn't as enamored by that, but sure, he's got the
yeah,
similar energy to it.
yeah, I would still say like Tim Curry, he's a bit difficult to match, but I think
Right.
Jonathan Hopes gives it a good shot and is just so much fun, and that's half of the reason the character is so fun to watch is that performance. The other half being the pencil mustache.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, did you have anyone you wanted to spotlight?
No, I don't think I had anyone else to say.
Yeah, we do have quite a few returning people from the original. I believe everyone is playing the same
Yeah.
characters here. We do also have Peter Mell, who plays a surfing announcer. We talked about it on the last episode. He is an
Mm-hmm.
actual competitive surfer,
Yeah.
which is always kind of fun. Um, and then we also had a few cameos here. There is a surfer named Alistair, who's played by Alistair Abel, and a surfer named Kathleen, who is played by Kathleen Barr. So just kind of
Huh.
fun.
Okay.
I don't know if they have many lines. They might not even have any lines, but a fun little reference to two voice actors who have been in a few of these movies.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, I gave the voice acting a 4.5 out of 5.
Yeah. I
I
give it
thought
a
it was very
4.
good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Solid.
Yeah. Now, last up we have music. Mostly solid. Again, nothing really stands
Yeah.
out.
Mostly solid.
The opening music number is very low energy, especially compared to, and I think the thing that I'm missing most here is Queen of the Waves, which
Yeah.
because in the first movie you have Queen of the Waves is kind of the introduction to the movie, and it's played over the surfing scenes, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just like this high energy, gets you excited. Whereas here the surfing scenes feel low energy in comparison. Like there's no song on that same energy level to get you into it.
No, but I
And
wasn't bothered by any of this.
no, I mean it's not bad music, it's just I was missing that extra like energy boost.
Mm-hmm. While for me, the last time I felt that I took some points off because of some of the modern music that was used that I didn't feel matched. Here, there wasn't as much of the modern music, and so I didn't. It was the dance music at the end, the Mermaid dance song.
Yeah,
That was it.
yeah. No, I had a weird moment watching this, and I was watching it with my family, who frequently will sit in the room while I watch these. And the mermaid Renata, she's one of
Mm-hmm.
the mermaids at the ceremony. She's introduced. There's this like moment in the soundtrack that usually plays after you introduce a villain. It's sort of like slightly
Yes.
ominous music.
Yeah, I
So
heard that too.
everyone in the room goes, "Oh, we immediately know who the villain is," but she doesn't do anything in the movie.
It's
Like it's
like,
not even like a fake out. It's just like a weird
no.
musical moment.
It's like, oh, is she the villain? But I understand that their intention was to make her sound more like a soldier type character, not a
Okay,
villain.
yeah, it was an odd, because I'm so used to these Barbie movies being very easy to read.
Mm.
So
Yeah, no, this one
not
took
just
me a
me,
second.
everyone in the room that I was watching this with were immediately like, "Oh, we know where this is going," and then she barely factors in.
Yeah, no.
I'm not good at it. That's not like a taking points off thing. I just thought it was a weird little note to have.
It was weird, and then I figured out what they were doing, and I was like, oh, okay. I guess they're not the villain,
Yeah.
which means it's probably going to be Eris again.
Yeah, I had forgotten about Eris until they started going down to the deep water, and I was like, "Oh yeah, she's down there."
No, I was expecting Eris. I was thinking it's a sequel, and like the other sequel, it's probably going to be wanting to use the same villain, and it's true. A
Yep.
villain voiced by Kathleen Barr. Yeah, no, I gave the music a 3.5, which was better than last film because it didn't have any distracting music.
Yeah, I gave it a 3. Pretty solid. And my sister Sarah gave it a 4. I think she liked the opening music. Don't quote me on that, but that seems to be at least part of it there. So yeah,
Yeah,
my total is a 19.5 out of 5, which is a 78%, or a 3.9 on our 5-star scale, which puts me, I think, about in the middle of my rankings.
yeah, mine's an 18.5, which is 74, or a 3.7, which is like a upper mid for me.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. Okay, I rated this one a little bit lower than I rated Mermaid Tale, the first one,
Okay,
but I think they're on a similar level.
they are. I think I prefer this one.
Yeah, I would probably rewatch this one,
Yeah,
but it's missing the Queen of the Waves song.
yeah, but it's not Aquaman.
Nope. Yeah, my sister gave it a total of 19 out of 25, which is a 76%, or a 3.8, which again is very similar to
Mm-hmm.
our scores. So I think we're kind of all in agreement here about this is a solid one. It isn't one of the best, but it's not one of the worst either.
Yeah, it's good to have Kelly back, and it'll be
Yes.
fun to hear more.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, thank you everyone for listening, and make sure to follow us on social media so you can keep up to date with new episodes. We are Binging Barbie Podcast on Instagram, at Binging Barbie on Twitter, and Binging Barbie, a Barbie movie podcast on Letterboxd. And there you can find an up-to-date list of all of our Barbie movie rankings. You can also find us on Tumblr. We have a Facebook page. That one I update a bit less because for some reason it wasn't letting me post. But anyway, you can follow us all over the place and follow us on any platforms that you're listening on. And we will be back next week to talk about Barbie, Princess and the Pop Star.
Oh,
Yeah, this is one I'm curious. I have actually seen this one, which isn't true of a lot of these later Barbie movies, but I don't really remember it. And I've heard it is a bit of a doozy. So I'm
we'll
curious
see
to
how
see.
it compares to our classic.
Yeah, it's bold of them to remake or revisit something that was so iconic.
Yeah.
But yeah, you'll have to tune back in next week to see what we thought.